Hey there, Bible buddies. I've got another Bible review for you today, and this one is a Collins Clear Type text of the King James Version Bible. Now, as far as I can tell, this was produced in 1957, and it's kind of a pretty standard Collins Bible for the era. If you watch the RSV edition that I just did by Collins, it is very similar to that. You'll see in many aspects it's very similar, albeit it's not a double column paragraph, it's a double column verse by verse, but otherwise it's very similar to that RSV. So go ahead and take a look at it. It does have Holy Bible, kind of very deeply imprinted on the front cover there. The grain on this cover is much better than the RSV. It's a genuine leather cover, but it's very grainy. It's very textured, and I like that. It's very nice grain. It does have Dan Hips imprinted here on the cover. Thank you, Dan Hips, wherever you are, for your contribution to the channel. There is no perimeter line, at least as far as I can see. It's just a pretty straightforward, pretty clean cover there. On the spine, we do have Holy Bible Red Letter Edition, and then Collins. And there are, I wouldn't even consider these indentations. This is just some like very lightly burnished spine somethings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. I mean, really, really faint on the spine there. But there's 5 of them, whatever they are. On the back, it just has that excellent grain, continued again. And this one has been very well worn, so you'll see that when we get to the gilt. But the grain is very nice. As far as the other things, other accents, other other external features go, we do have white head and tail bands, and there is a very, that ribbon. I'll pull that one and show that to you in a second. Hold on. We do have a nice gilt. I say a nice gilt. We have a very heavily worn gilt. You can see here a lot of water damage and speckling and that sort of thing done to it. But the gilt, I would imagine, would have been a decent gilt. Probably not the highest quality gilt of the time that was possible, but a decent gilt nonetheless. All right, so this ribbon, goodness, I don't even want to pull on this thing. These are the ribbons that I hate. I know hate is a strong word. I don't like saying the word hate, but these ribbons should have just never been ever put in Bibles. So what this is, it is like a braided fabric ribbon, and it's like maybe a purple or a deep like royal blue, but almost looks purple on camera. And they are like braided, and they're just ever so flimsy. If I were to pull on this, I mean, you can see how absolutely like microscopically thin it is. If I were to give this probably too decent of a tug, it would just snap right off. And be done with. These are horrible ribbons, and I hate every time I see them used because I know that they're always going to be in very terrible condition like this and just ready to pop off at any moment, which I guess isn't a big deal. I would just replace it with maybe a purple or a deep blue ribbon, a double-sided satin version of one, a newer one, upgraded at least for the time being. But I hate seeing this kind of thing. It's just so flimsy. Why do they use that? I don't know. All right, let's get into it. That's enough on the ribbon, goodness. So we'll look at the corner work there. It is pleated, and it's pretty fine. This is a paste down. This is a very weird material. It feels like a synthetic, and it is pretty heavily textured. There does appear to be maybe some reinforcing tape a little bit there, and then on this side, it is like a black textured paper. It almost reminds me of like the box of an Allen Bible. It's kind of like or maybe like some tactical pants. It's kind of some like crisscross pattern. Pretty neat. On the back, the only difference is, other than the corner work, we have genuine leather imprinted there on the bottom to let you know that it's genuine leather, which is nice. I always appreciate when they spell that out. I don't like it here on the cover. Please don't do that. This is great, or better, I guess, than on the cover. But let's go ahead and get into the text. We have, oh goodness, all right, let me put you down. Let's get you settled. There we go. All right. We just have the end sheet there, and then it gets right to the presentation page. Nice little presentation page there. And then you have your family records section. Parents' names, births, marriages, I'm assuming deaths. And here we have a little note about the photography like we did in that RSV edition. And we're probably going to have a lot of these same kind of images. So this is Jerusalem from Mount of Olives. And if I remember correctly, this same image was in the RSV. It was just in a different portion of the Bible. If I remember correctly, it might have been in the same spot. I don't know. But a lot of these same images from the RSV are also in this one. And here we have our title page, Authorized King James Version, and this is done by Collins Clear Type Press, and it is an Iona Clear Type text. I don't know if I said Iona earlier. I don't think I did, but it's an Iona Clear Type text. We'll turn the page. This paper is very heavily oxidized and is very well used, so it's can be a little bare to turn at times. We'll take a look here at the copyright page. Thankfully, they've included their kind of standard copyright, so we can see here that it's printed in 1957. And then at the bottom we have just printed in Great Britain. Then we have our epistle dedicatory, standard fare for the KJV. We have our table of contents. And the signs that are used in this book. And the first book of Moses is called Genesis. Look at that. Let's turn the page so we can get a better feel for it. Actually, we'll turn a little bit in, because this one does have overcast stitching here. You can see it on this first signature. And these, these illustrations or these photographs. Caesarea, the sunken port. And Via Dolorosa. They're just making it a little hard for me to get what I need to show here. So let's go to the inside. There we go. Okay, so again, you have a double column verse by verse. Obviously, it's King James Version. We do have the book name and the chapters that are associated with the page. Now, only the starting chapters, obviously, because here we have the remainder of chapter 29. It's not indicated up there. But the starting chapters on each page, or I guess in this case, just the only chapter, chapter 31 indicated here. We do have running headers across the top. And then you have a double line drop cap for the beginning of the chapters. And obviously this is going to be, well, not obviously. It's kind of sort of-ish line matched because, just the way the text kind of falls on the page, but not really line matched just because it's not, the alignment isn't perfect, right? So the alignment like just overall top to bottom. So I probably wouldn't consider it line matched. Although technically, I guess that's what they're trying to go for, but it's not like really a great job at line matching. You do have page numbers there at the bottom. And that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and get to the poetic section. There's not going to be much of a poetic section, though. Oh, hold on. We'll stop and we'll visit. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. This ribbon. Look at this. I mean, look how frail this is. It's so teeny tiny. It's going to be like a quarter of an inch thick. That thing is so puny. Oh, I know it's going to snap off one of these days. Goodness. But there you go. There's your poetic section. Again, the paper is very heavily oxidized. You can see it real dark up here. I don't know if the camera's picking up, but it's very heavily oxidized. As far as show through is concerned, it's not very bad at all. This isn't India paper or anything like that. But there's only a very light little bit of show through here. It's not too terrible. So a decent paper, definitely better than the RSV that we took a look at earlier. That we looked at earlier? Did we took a look? Yeah, took a look at. Yeah. Definitely better than the RSV paper. That ribbon. So, less show through than that for sure. I'm not a fan of these photos. Yeah, that's just me. They're kind of get in the way. Red letter. There we go. Hold on. Let's go back a little bit. It was like purple letter. All right. So we have the end of the Old Testament. Then we have the New Testament. Red letter, obviously. I'll show you guys that. The Gospel according to St. Matthew. Now we'll go a little bit back to 5 and 6. You see the red letter there with some highlighting. But the red letter actually isn't that bad. It's kind of a neat color, and I'm assuming that has to do with the page oxidation. Get you guys in close there. It almost has like a purple hue to it, which really probably has to do with that page oxidation. I'm sure it was a nice vivid red to begin with. But it has kind of taken on a little bit of a purple hue. Now, something to notice is the print irregularity here and just the lightness of this red altogether. It's fairly dark here, and then it's fairly light here. And even on this page, it's pretty light. And I don't know if that has to do with the page oxidation. Obviously, the page is going to oxidize worse on the outer edges and kind of move in. So that might be the case. Man, this paper is so yellow. But red letter nonetheless. It's not the worst red letter I've seen, but not the best. All right, so the end of the New Testament. And then you have a blank sheet there for whatever your heart desires. Then you have my favorite illustrations of all time. And you have some helps. The helps are fairly light. There's not very much back here. And I think the RSV even specifically said, these are light helps or minor helps or something like that. But here's the table of contents. And you can see that there's a time chart of the Bible history. There you go. I'll kind of thumb through them. You see there's some Sumerian writing, it looks like on the next page. No, Greek and Aramaic and Hebrew. So the original languages of the Bible. English versions of the Bible. I'm sure they're all covered because there's only 1,200 versions of the English versions of the Bible. So probably not all covered. We have the books of the Bible, and this is very similar to what was in the RSV. So we have the title, the author, the setting, and a brief description of the book. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is very similar to the RSV. We have the same time chart again. The books of the Bible continued. And Bible characters, miracles of Christ, parables of Christ, famous Bible characters, weights and measures. So yeah, a lot of the same stuff repeated there. And we have our little illustration again. And the maps. Oh, these maps, goodness. We've been seeing a lot of these lately. And at the end, we just have a little stamp there, T590RD, it looks like. Yeah, something like that, or RL. It's debatable. And just the end of the Bible there. Oh, this poor ribbon, it's going to pop off. I know it'll pop off on camera. We're going to get it on camera. I'm just saying that it's probably not going to happen, but who knows? See, it's just so thin. Look how thin it is. Y'all, I'm obsessing over this ribbon. Apologies, but look how thin it is. Microscopic. Goodness. Okay, let's get some measurements. Thank you for bearing with me over my ribbon rant. And this one comes in at 7 and 4, 5, what's up? 1, 2, 3, 3/4, 7 3/4 inch tall. And but 5 and close to about 5 1/4 inches wide. And about 1 1/4 inches wide, a little less than 1 1/4 inches wide. We'll take a look at the fonts. That ribbon. Yeesh. All right. So for the fonts, it appears to be like an 8.5 versus Times New Roman for uppercase. And for lowercase, let's go with M in Jerusalem. 8.5. Yeah, a little bit bigger maybe. About a 9 point in comparison to Times New Roman for the lowercase. So I always go with the lowercase letters to get a font size just because there's more lowercase letters. So we'll say a 9 point font in this edition. So not too shabby. Definitely a nice edition if you guys are interested in it. eBay would be the place to go. The Collins Iona Bibles, they come up pretty regularly. It's a pretty common edition. So I would imagine you would not have a hard time finding one of these, a decent mid-sized Bible. But yeah, Bible buddies, if you have any questions, comments, concerns about ribbons, feel free to leave them down below. Otherwise, if you could, like, comment, and subscribe, would be much appreciated. Until next time, Bible buddies. Bye.